Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the GBYWN Australia podcast. I am your host, as usual, Aston Crude, and here tonight I have a very, very special treat for you all. That's right. Here tonight I am interviewing four-time XCW Heavyweight Champion, last ever XCW Extreme Carnage Champion, UBW Heavyweight Champion,
Cool.
whatever, ORWF Hardcore Champion.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Tag Team Champion, I don't know, I can't remember all of them. And also the first person with the most votes to be voted into the first class of the Australian Backyard Wrestling Hall of Fame. I'm talking to the one and only Defuzer. Thank you for being here.
Oh, sorry. I thought this was Defuzer back in that stage where he didn't talk.
No.
No, thanks.
This is the man behind the mask.
Right.
We're
Thanks.
talking to the man behind the mask. Not going to mention what your real name is.
No, that's a good idea.
But this interview not in character, so we're shooting the shit today. We're talking about everything that ever happened in Defuzer's backyard wrestling career.
All right.
So hopefully not too restricted for time. I know you're a father these days and
Right.
a working man.
Yeah.
So we'll hop straight into it, Defuzer. How did you get into wrestling?
Well, I'm guessing it was something to do with you, but I think
I think you were a fan before we met, weren't you?
You're right, I was. The very first match I ever saw in my life was Undertaker versus Kane at WrestleMania
14.
14.
The first one?
The first one. And I was flicking through channels, and I flicked to that match, and I think it was the moment Kane was first being tombstoned, and he kicked out.
And no one had ever done it before, I don't think.
Yeah, so everyone was going crazy, and then he kicked out of another one, and I think he got pinned after that. I thought, hey, this guy's got grit.
Yeah.
It's good. I can't remember how long it was until the next match, but the very next match I ever saw in my life was Kane and Mankind
Yeah.
versus the Headbangers. Headbangers?
Yeah, Mosh and Thrash.
Mosh and Thrash, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a match where Kane single-handedly suplexed both of them at the same time.
Oh, okay.
And that is where I fell in love with Kane and wrestling at the same time.
Gotcha.
And from that episode of Raw, I think it was, onward, I was addicted.
Shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
There we go.
there we go. Now we all know why you love Kane so much, because your first real
Proper
opportunities you got
experience.
to see Kane.
Hmm.
So that's how you got into wrestling. Did you get into it because of a friend of yours or a sibling?
No,
or
channel surfing.
Just channel surfing.
I had never seen wrestling before then.
Okay. All right. Well, moving forward, I don't know how long you're a wrestling fan for until you finally start mucking around with some of the guys from back when we were in primary school. Let's talk a little bit about the Ocean Reef Wrestling Federation. Let's not talk about it too much, but do you have any real memories, anything funny, any funny stories of when we were 12 years old wrestling at the park?
I have 3 memories of doing that.
Yeah.
Memory number 1, I can't remember who it was, but we 3D'd someone straight onto the grass, and it destroyed them. It was probably Wesley.
It was probably Wes.
Yeah, and they cried, whoever it was. Maybe it wasn't Wes, because he's tough. Memory number 2 is Tyrone Graham power bombing Wesley into dog shit.
Yeah, Whiz Kid.
On Rebecca's front lawn, I think it was.
No, it was actually at the it was just at the primary school.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Powerbombed him, then
Yeah,
twisted
smudged
him.
it. Yeah. And everyone giggling, Wesley not knowing, and then when he realised he was covered in shit, ripping his shirt off and running home with a shirt covered in dog.
You would think he would just throw it away.
No, he ran home with it.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. That was one of the funniest wrestling moments in the world.
I was in tears.
And the only other memory I have was when I finally got an opportunity to win that damn title,
The heavyweight
the
title.
heavyweight title, and I think I was against Tyrone in a tire tower match.
Yep.
There was that tower of
It was
tires.
it's near the playground at our school.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it. They're like 4 wooden posts or 3 wooden posts with tires
With
attached
tires
all the way up.
Seriously, who's going to have fun on that? We did,
We did.
by having a tire tower match.
We had a title match. If you got knocked off,
Then you lose. I was clearly winning. Because, I mean, come on.
yeah.
I was winning. And just as Tyrone had one pinky finger left holding onto the tyre, you came out of nowhere.
And suddenly, I don't even know how I got.
You just decided to ruin the match. for
I
me.
just got sanctioned into the match. I don't even know how.
And you...
Michael Farnell was the commissioner.
Yeah, that sounds right. Classic Just Mike. It's probably around the same time that used to cheat on the Simpsons game.
Yep.
And you ripped me off the tyre, or the tyre tower, and I fell to the ground and probably cried. And Tyrone won, and I never got an opportunity.
You never got to win the big one
To
in the
win it,
Ocean Reef
ever.
Wrestling Federation. That's fine. Because really, do we even really remember
That's a prestigious title.
the ORWF that well?
No.
In comparison to what we did later on, I think that was quite a
Yeah, I think
insignificant time. But
Probably.
I still wanted to talk about it just briefly.
so. Good times.
All right, so we get into high school. We haven't done backyard wrestling for about 2 years. And all of a sudden, I become friends with Johnny V and Liam McNally and a few other guys, and we're starting up our new backyard wrestling federation. So the first thing I do is I approach you about joining this new backyard wrestling group. You, Lance Lightning, Just Mike, and Wes, I asked. And so, do you have any memories? Do you remember that at all?
No, I don't. But I remember Mike saying that he's not going to join. Something to do with he doesn't want to touch men, or something like that. I remember Wesley being very keen. Obviously, he went on to be one of the greatest XCW superstars of our time. And I have no idea how Les got into it. Apparently, you asked him.
I convinced him. So
I don't remember being asked. All I remember is showing up to John's house one day.
Yeah.
And being a part of it, wearing my Mambo shirt.
Okay, the Mambo Machine's born.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you join XCW. What are your first impressions of all the guys? You don't really know them that well.
No, I already had my views on all of them. Johnny V was a little turd because he hurt Ben McLaren in science class one day. I hated Vaughan because he complimented something that I did in computer class one day. And I didn't know anyone else except for you and Les. I like Norman. He's a good bloke.
Yep.
But that's about it. I can't even remember who was a part of it. Oh, there was like...
There were certain others who we'll talk about soon.
Yeah.
So Christmas Chaos 1, our first ever event, I think it was December 21st, 2001. Your first match are against the Wolverine. So, do you remember Christmas Chaos 1 very much?
A little bit.
It's quite vague of a memory.
I've got a terrible memory, but luckily you're here.
Yeah. But yeah, you took on Wolverine. And, so, yeah, do you remember planning that first XCW match with Liam? Did you talk on the internet or in person or...?
I don't think we planned it too much. I think that I might have approached Liam to try to plan it, and he just said, "Oh, that's right, we'll just see how we go."
Okay.
So we didn't really get to even. I don't think we even planned the ending or anything like that. We just knew how it was finishing, and obviously I can't remember who won that now, so I don't know how it finished. But no, that was all ad lib, that first match.
Okay. So from there, the next show, Highway to Hell.
Hey! Wasn't that first match when we first had a match too?
Oh yeah, that's right. You ended up filling in for WizKid in the main event. I completely forgot.
That's right.
Main event for the first ever champion. Of course, I win the championship.
Yeah, that was different.
So all of a sudden you sprung into the spotlight. Now you are in the main event. And I think from having that match with you, I realised, Defuzer's not just going to be mid-card guy. He's probably going to be the one that ends up taking the title off me eventually.
Yeah, might one day. We'll see how we go.
So what did you think of being slung into the main event of the first show out of nowhere?
Look, I thought obviously I'd earned it after all of my hours in the business. It was about time I finally got a shot at the title. But unfortunately it didn't quite go to plan. You beat the shit out of me, I think. I don't remember actually doing much in that other than getting my ass kicked. But it was nice to finally get some recognition for everything I'd done.
Fucking hell. Is this just going to be sarcasm the whole way through?
No, I'll try to get some wit in as well.
Alright, mate. From there, Highway to Hell, the next show. You're wrestling Wolverine again in a 2 out of 3 falls match with the infamous chokeslam through the plank of polystyrene.
Oh, yeah, I think this was the match I was sunburned.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good match from memory.
That was pretty decent, and props to Liam for taking that bump. I think it hurt him quite a lot, and so it should have landed on rocks.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, I there was quite a bit of a crowd reaction from memory.
Yeah.
But the sunburn was terrible. That was the
infamous sunburn on the nose.
Exactly. I've warned people about it now, and our don't try this.
Don't try this at home. That second show.
Yeah.
One time you burned yourself on the nose.
Exactly, it's worth it.
Yeah. That's what happens when you wrestle in the backyard, ladies and gentlemen. You can get sunburn.
Sunburn.
And
Some people get ruptured discs.
And you can
they talk about that once on their...
And you can get prickles in your socks.
Oh, yeah. That's
okay. Behind the scenes, there's a bit of heat between you and a guy named the Chillster.
Already?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In the first half of 2002.
No, that's right. And I was completely oblivious to it.
Oh, I see.
I had no idea he hated me.
But you hated him too, didn't you?
No.
When did you decide that you hated him?
When I found out he hated me.
Oh, is that what...
Which was months later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why he didn't like you.
Yeah.
Craig didn't like anyone, really.
Yeah, well, makes sense. He's a bit of a sadist.
So, moving forward, through the months, you managed to become number 1 contender
right.
for the Heavyweight Championship. We get to Guilty as Charged 2002. Mambo Machine Defuzer, still not wearing a mask, takes on Mad Dog, also known as Taze, also known as Aston Creed. In the main event, you win the championship. What a moment.
This is in my house.
That's at your place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it was good. Big crowd reaction. No
Yeah.
one was expecting it.
No.
Who would expect the silent Mambo Machine who just looks at the floor all day to win the title?
Yep.
Oh, that was brilliant. Good booking.
Were you happy with it? Happy to be champion?
I was very happy to be champion. I remember not really knowing how to react, because generally when you win the heavyweight title, you'd celebrate, but Mambo Machine Defuzer is supposed to be all dark and broody, even though he doesn't wear a mask. So I kind of just had to go. That must have been really good for radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So from there, Extreme Evolution 1, you engaging now in this big feud with myself, and in the main event it's me, you and Wolverine in a 3-way for the championship. Wolverine turns on you, sides with me, helps me win the championship back in your first title defense.
That bastard. That sounds so much like Kane.
Yep, that's pretty much what I was
Losing it
going for.
straight
I think.
away.
Yep.
Yeah, nice one.
And
Dickhead.
then the following show, you are burned with hot coffee in the face
with a little bit of sausage.
to get you all lined up for your big comeback.
Yes.
What are your memories of feuding with a early version of XWA?
Look, I've got one memory in particular, and that was when my face was burned, and that was me running out and somehow jumping over the top rope on the full and landing on all 3 of you and everyone going crazy.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then being really pissed because we didn't get it on camera. Even
of
though we
course,
didn't film back then.
that show didn't.
In
film.
hindsight, being
Yeah.
pissed.
That would have sucked. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also remember being told afterward that the hot coffee that I was burned with contained a little bit of sausage, and getting really upset because I thought when John told me sausage, he meant spit. Like, you know, the nicknames, one of the nicknames for like a big thing of slag is like a sausage.
Oh, really? No, I didn't know that.
Well, maybe it's not. Maybe I just made it up.
Oh, okay.
And
so you think someone spat
I thought someone spat in it, and so I effectively got spat in my face. It wasn't until, I think, years later that I found out that it was actually
a bit of sausage that was cut off.
Pork sausage.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't remember much about the feud before that happened, but I remember what happened afterward. I came back with a mask.
You came back with a mask. So do you remember me talking to you about how I wanted you to have a mask?
Yeah, and I
thought it would be good for you.
Well, I thought it was a good idea because it would make me a bit more like Kane, and really I needed to be a bit more like Kane.
Yeah, he already came out to his theme song, so...
Exactly. Do the choke slam. And do the tombstone, except slightly to the side.
Slightly to the side, Emerald Fusion.
Exactly.
So you make your big return with the mask, and everyone's going crazy for your entrance, and you come out, you deliver a choke slam to me, a choke slam to Wolverine, and this big return happened only for you to lose.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's your booking.
Yep.
Yeah, well done, mate.
Thank you. So you return to lose, but you've got the mask, which is a new era for Defuzer.
Yeah.
And from there, it looked like you and Oliver were going to be starting a team.
That's right.
You and O-Factor. You're going to form a team known as the Rebellion.
Yes, and I remember being happy about that because I was a big fan of O-Factor.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that wasn't really in the plans.
Yeah, that sounds...
After that.
Yeah, I wonder who booked that.
Well, it was because things were changing soon
course,
after here.
Yeah, good one.
Soon after this, you have a match, I believe it's on Electrode, before a show we had called Mind Games.
Okay.
You faced Lance Lightning in what was supposed to be his last match.
He's had a lot of last matches.
This was like the third time I think you'd wrestled him in XCW at that point. You'd had a couple matches with him.
Is this Defuzer?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is very early on in XCW. There's no real footage of it, but you've also wrestled Lance Lightning several times after that. So I just want to know what your thoughts are on wrestling Leslie and the difficulties that you face actually trying to plan a match with Leslie.
Look, Leslie wasn't much of a wrestling fan. He was a big fan of fighting. I've always said that Les is basically Bill Goldberg. As stiff as they come, not much of a seller, but still.
Well, except for that bloody knee injury he's always got. He always
he's good at selling the knee injury, probably because it was genuine. But he was. Beside that, he was good fun because he was a challenge. You couldn't really plan a match because you're like, hey Les, how about I give you a DDT, mate? What's a DDT?
Yeah.
So it was mostly I'd live with good old Les. Hard to give him a few moves because he really didn't know how to sell him. He'd try to suplex him, he wouldn't know when to jump. Partly my fault. But the most fun part about fighting with Lance Lightning, is that you just never knew what he was going to do. Because he never knew what he was going to do.
Yeah. Very,
He's a big bloke.
Yeah.
Let's not deny it. He's a big bloke. He's not particularly agile. So the last thing you would expect is for him to give you a flying headbutt.
That's right.
But he'd give you a flying headbutt out of nowhere. And he did that several times and they worked. Giving him Emerald Fusion, I think, was off the cards entirely. Giving him a chokeslam was always going to be fun. But I still enjoyed it because it was a challenge.
It was a challenge. He was a bit uncoordinated, but
it was.
In saying that, if you worked hard enough, you could get a good match out of him.
He had heart, and I will always respect that. And I think he will always be a valuable member of XCW.
Yes, totally. One thing I will say about that last match in quotation marks, because it wasn't really his last match. the power bomb onto the side of the wicker basket. Do you remember that?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And the way his body bounced off that wicker basket looked like a fish jumping out of the water, just like flopping through the air. Just
why didn't we get that on film?
I know, because Blake didn't show up to film it, well, as fucking usual.
Oh, Reverend Blake.
Yeah, that's why you
Damn
didn't
it,
get
Blake.
the show where you jumped over the top rope and you got your face burned because you missed the show. Extreme Evolution number 1, he didn't show up. This show he didn't show up.
Blake.
Fucking
What were we
Blake.
not paying you for?
Unbelievable, right? So from there you go into a bit of a down period in your time as a backyard wrestler.
Oh, is this where you book me to lose every month?
That's no.
Oh, okay.
That's where I say, I need you to wrestle this guy. You guys choose who wins, and you decide. Well, I'll let Billy Bob Hayes beat me.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
So for those playing at home, Vorney
I'm a
Tuhorny
shit
had a
bobber.
short-lived character known as Billy Bob Hayes. He was supposed to be kind of like an outback country hick from Australia,
Who
but
doesn't like rap?
he ended up being just a redneck from Texas. But he was
Yeah.
supposed to be an outback,
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought he was a redneck. There we go.
Yeah, but he ended up just doing the redneck thing. But you ended up losing to Billy Bob Hayes.
And I chose that.
You decided that he should get the
Yeah,
win. I
great
don't
booking.
know why.
Great booking.
Yep, on your Bonner.
Yeah.
Oops, on your Defuzer.
Oh,
Who gives a
shit.
shit? We all know. We all fucking know. All right, so after this bit of a downtime for you, you enter into this short 2-show feud with Ultra Aiku.
Ah, yes.
First match, he's Super Aiku.
That's right. So he evolved, didn't he?
He evolved because he lost to you.
That's right.
And then the first time he was Ultra Aiku.
Isn't he supposed to evolve when he wins a match?
No, because, he needed to... Well, obviously what I'm doing now isn't working. Now I need to evolve like a Pokemon.
No,
And
but
now he's going to face me a couple levels up.
He's broken a basic rule of Pokemon. You don't get experience
Well, I'm
points unless
sorry,
you win
this
the
is
match.
Backyard Wrestling
Jesus.
Diffuser. But basically, Ultra Aiku was Backyard Wrestling's Pokemon character.
He was.
He evolved from Super Aiku to Aiku
hang
to
on.
Ultra Aiku.
Maybe he used an Aiku stone. He probably evolved... Sorry, kick on.
Okay. Anyway, so now we've talked about the difficulties of getting a good match out of Lance Lightning. What's it like wrestling Norman, Ultra Aiku, Super Aiku, whatever carnation of the character?
Yeah, look, Super Aiku was very hard. Ultra Aiku, he was a bit easier to wrestle.
Just no more jokes. No more jokes. Give me the nitty gritty. Because look, let's face it, Norman couldn't really leave his feet.
Norman's a big bloke.
Plus, he wrestled in steel cap boots, which didn't help at all.
He did. Yeah, wouldn't really want to get stomped by that. But he was fine to wrestle. But I've always maintained that lots of people gave him shit, and lots of people complained that they didn't want to wrestle him. But that's because they couldn't wrestle themselves. They didn't know how to adapt.
That's right. So tell us about you learning in your own way, because no one's teaching you how to do this. I'm not teaching you. You're teaching yourself. So how are you learning?
I'm learning off the big boys, the WWF and WCW.
Okay.
You got the Giant, you got Viscera, you got Mark Henry. How does anyone fight that? They do, and they're good at it.
Yeah.
It's all about adapting. You don't try to powerbomb Mark Henry. You don't try to powerbomb Ultra Aiku or even Super Aiku. So, I had to change my wrestling style from what was predominantly power moves to what was more predominantly either technical or lightweight moves.
Yeah.
Which was a hell of a lot of fun.
Must have been fun to do something different.
It was great.
Now Diffuser's doing a jumping crossbody off the trampoline onto him, or
exactly. Change it
like
up,
doing a
and
drop
it's good
kick
fun.
and
It's
stuff.
fresh.
You're doing a bulldog. You're doing
Exactly. You're doing stuff that people never even thought you'd be able to do.
Yeah.
I remember it once, wasn't I, even on his shoulders doing something?
I don't know.
Imagine if I tried to sit on Nick's shoulders. Impossible.
Dead.
Nick's a great person to wrestle, but I can't stand on his shoulders.
No.
Norman knew wrestling as well. That was the good thing. He knew what he was doing. He had his moveset, and he could do his moveset on anyone he wanted.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a problem there. I had to adapt. I think I was able to adapt, and used to get some pretty decent matches out of him.
Yeah. I think you guys have had maybe about 3 or 4 matches, plus all the tag matches and all that. That ended
Always
up
enjoyed
happening.
them.
Yeah, I always enjoyed wrestling Norman.
And you were always good as well.
Yeah, I was always
You brought out your technical game.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I was like, fuck. People just said the other day, oh, he shouldn't be Extreme Carnage champion. He's not going to have a good match with you. Me and him go out there, we have a good match. And then the following show, he has a great match with Chris. And it's like 2 matches in a row.
Exactly.
Chris adapted, I adapted, you adapted. That's what you needed to get a good match out of Norman. And it's not a knock on him. It's just you will have a bad match with Norman if you don't try to adapt.
Yeah,
because Norman knows his limitations.
Exactly.
And that's it. Alright, so soon after this, XCW has a small break. Things are we can't find a venue, I think, at the time, so we felt, well, let's...
Is this because you dented my shed?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, did that happen yet? No, that hadn't even happened yet.
Oh, okay.
And no, I did not dent the fucking shed. But we have a little bit of a break. In comes UBW. I don't know if you want to talk about UBW briefly.
Via the robot?
I don't know what it was, but there was...
one was Via.
Via, and yeah, Ultimate Backyard Wrestling had one show.
I remember we had one show and I won the championship and I was really honoured, and then we didn't have another show.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was the end of UBW. Do you have any memories of that day at all?
No, the only memories I have are what people always talk about, and that's Via the robot.
He fell off a ladder into a microchip. That's
right.
The character.
That's right.
I always found that to be hilarious.
It is. It's brilliant. And
Via.
And that, I think, is what we'll take out of UBW.
That was the greatest thing that happened in UBW. Besides you
a
being
storyline that didn't actually happen.
Yeah, it didn't even happen. It was already happening. But, I think Vaughan tried hard, but we all still were like, oh, well, why are we rebooting and starting again? Let's just go back to XCW. If we can wrestle at Vaughan's house, why don't we just do XCW?
I remember not caring.
You didn't care either way?
No.
Yeah. Well, some people did.
Yeah.
From there, we make the big return. It's at your house. I think half the show got filmed. The main event didn't because of camera problems. But
Thanks, Blake.
Yep. And I believe this was just before XCW Betrayal 2002. Me, you, and Johnny V got together several times planning out this match. I was very proud of it.
Is this Johnny V or Dracula?
No, he was Johnny V.
Okay.
And we planned this whole match where I was coming back to XCW and I had a mystery partner.
Coming back? When did you
Coming
leave?
back into the new XCW. With owner
right.
Oliver Duget in charge.
Yes.
Alright, I'm bringing a mystery partner. I'm challenging owner Oliver Duget to bring in 2 guys from the roster to wrestle me and my mystery partner. The mystery partner ended up being you.
Oh, there we go.
So, Betrayal 2002. Remember that? The whole match. Johnny V trying to get the tag to you. Keeps getting cut off.
Oh, this is at John's house.
Yes, it's at John's house.
Yeah, okay, got it. I remember a bit of that match, and I remember John trying to get the tag the whole time, and me trying my absolute darndest. I just did quotes.
Yeah.
To get the tag, and you're just beating down on him, screwing him over. The crowd's getting pissed. All they want is Defuzer to.
And everyone's like, "Where's the
tag.
fucking mystery guy? Where's the mystery guy?"
Very mysterious, and he finally gets his opportunity, and then I swipe back.
Pull your hand away.
Pull the hand away. Everyone's going, what's going on? Why did he do that? And where's the mystery partner? And I can't remember what happened. Did I beat down on him?
You punched him in the head. He turned around into the high voltage.
There we go.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, pin.
And me and you.
Who pinned him? Was it me? Because technically that wouldn't have...
No, I pinned him.
Oh, good.
And then we high-fived.
There we go. High five.
And you turned heel.
We're a team. That's
Now
right.
we're a
Turns
team.
out I was a mystery partner.
Yep.
So the mystery partner all along was who was John's partner.
Exactly.
Still waiting.
Didn't have one. Didn't have one because of you.
We turn around, you're right. We celebrate, and that was XWA reformed.
No, not yet.
Oh,
no, that was
okay.
just our tag team.
Sorry, getting
XWA was fucking another year later.
Oh,
but
oh, that's right. Our tag. Oh,
yeah,
unbeatable.
Our tag team run.
That's,
all right,
that is so unfair.
Let's get into the tag team with me and you. Turning heel, finally get to be something. A
that's
bit
right.
different now.
Turned heel, and all of a sudden my mask went black. Right?
Not straight away.
Oh, shame.
Not straight away,
Maybe-
but I
maybe
think you
we'll let
did.
you-
You did add some more paper mache to make it a bit bigger.
Oh, that's right. My old mask was just the old spotlight art mask.
It was like in an art pack.
Yeah, with a bit of spray paint on top. Very flimsy, used to crack all the time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it was very flimsy.
yeah, covered it in paper mache. I remember sitting at my little table with my strips of newspaper and a bit of water. Little paper mache.
Yep.
A few layers.
Done.
Strengthen it up. Paint it. Diffuser's ready to go.
You always did such a great job with updating your mask.
Yeah.
I will say.
Yeah, thanks.
So, how did you feel about our tag team run, working with the likes of Owner Oliver Duget, Acid Rain, I think Wolverine, bit of Johnny V, and bit of Scorcher.
Look, you can stop me if I'm completely off the mark, but I remember complete domination.
It pretty much was.
Yeah, yeah, and I remember were people getting a little bit frustrated?
Yeah, because they were.
Yeah, I think they would have been because we're unstoppable.
Yeah, like we.
You've got the two only heavyweight champions, or Johnny V finally got his title. He would have had one by then.
No, not yet.
Still not. There you
No.
go. The only
It's just
two,
me and you.
the only two heavyweight champions in the history of XCW are now on team.
Yeah. And we're not losing much.
And we're not losing full stop.
But it's building the heat up until the climax of when...
Oh, and it worked.
Yeah, and it did.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, and we'll get to that, the reaction of everyone then when it
Was
happened.
that the era where I wouldn't talk?
Yeah. We did
Yeah.
the little gimmick where...
Loved it. Every
would-
event.
We would film these backstage promos and Defuzer's about to get his 2 cents in and then I cut you off. Wait
Yeah,
a minute, big
that's
man.
right.
I've got it. You know? That's one thing I think a lot of people listening to this probably won't know much of with XCW. We did a lot of backstage promos.
That were probably some of the favourite parts.
That's probably like some of the best things that ever happened.
And
was just all the stupidity.
All the stupid shit, and especially a lot of it wasn't filmed. I remember just preparing for those things and like rehearsing and all of that. That was just ridiculous.
So much fun.
Oh, yeah.
But we had a pretty good run as a team, and around this time we had a couple of matches with Scorcher.
Scorcher.
So we spoke about the difficulties of Lance Lightning and Ultra IQ. How the fuck is it? Because you wrestled Scorcher maybe almost as many times as Johnny V did. I think John wrestled him the most, but you wrestled him quite a lot too. So
I had the added benefit of having a mask, so you couldn't see me laughing the whole time. But that's basically what you do when you wrestle Scorcher. You laugh and you laugh and you laugh. You've got to go onto the match realising you can plan the whole match with him over the internet or before the match, and he'll be really serious about, okay, this is what we're going to do, and he won't do any of it. And it won't be because he's forgotten it, it'll be because he's being a dickhead. And it's hilarious.
everything's out the window.
Oh, yeah. And you have no idea what he's going to do, much like with Leslie, but more so because Lee just loves being random. Sorry, Scorcher. Shit, we've just ruined his alias.
That's all right.
Oh, shit. And he was so exciting because he would do the high-flying stuff that I wish I could do.
Shooting star press, moonsault,
450.
450, 180 frog splash.
Yeah. And I think he probably appreciated versing me because I was the only person who would lie down underneath that and actually take it.
Well, the amount of times he did a shooting star press to you through a table, maybe it was only like twice, but still.
Anywhere up to 2 times.
Yeah. I mean, and those tables.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking hell.
They were flimsy, and that's where I got my my fat...
The fat cunt chant.
The fat cunt
Because
chant.
you... Yeah. Well, there was a lot of boxes involved as well.
Because my 90-kilogram self couldn't accurately lie on a on a flimsy 0.5 millimeter piece of wood.
Yeah.
It would bend. That obviously makes me fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember a wheelbarrow match. Me and you against Scorcher in a handicap match. It's a wheelbarrow match. You
the last person in the wheelbarrow or something wins? Or?
No, you got to put your opponent in the wheelbarrow for 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's the same thing. But anyway.
So he put you in the wheelbarrow first, then he put me in the wheelbarrow second, and he beat us both in the
That's
wheelbarrow
right.
match.
We lost a handicap match.
We've beaten everyone, but we lost to Scorcher in a handicap wheelbarrow match.
That's right.
And wheelbarrow match will never happen again. one of a kind.
Look, you never know.
And I remember specifically during the match, I was down, you were laying next to me, and he grabbed your own leg and started beating me with your own leg.
I remember that.
If I have time, I'll try and insert some clips into this podcast so you can all see all the stupidity that took place.
The important thing to get out of this is he's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And one of the funniest wrestlers you'll ever see.
Yeah. Also around this time, I start a little mini feud with Nick Ariel, and you get one match with him.
With Nick?
You only have one match with Nick Ariel.
Yeah, I think that's where I threw him into the shed.
Threw him into the side of the shed. Great little battle.
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of having the opportunity to...
I remember being very excited because it basically meant that all of my power moves I could do with one arm. And I remember being very excited because finally Nick Ariel would be given the chance to land one of his moonsaults because I would take it.
Yeah.
And then I remember getting to the day and he said, "Nah, I don't actually land it." So he didn't. He still did one of his fake ones and I had to roll out the way, which I was a bit disappointed with. So I threw him into a shed.
Yeah. Clinching throw bomb
into my shed. Didn't dent it at that point, which was great.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was cool to see you and Nick.
It was
go
really
one-on-one.
good.
I really wish you guys could have had another match.
Well,
but
isn't that because after that match he said he doesn't want to face me ever again?
I think he wanted to just wrestle the smaller guys.
Yeah, because I was a bit too stiff.
Yeah. Plus, he ended up getting hurt in a match with Wolverine and a match with me, so he just wanted to just wrestle the other little kids for a while.
What it was.
So moving forward, we move up towards Christmas Chaos 2. We're feuding with Johnny V, and he's going to get this big opportunity to finally win the championship after us dominating for 6 or 7 months as a tag team. So let's get to Christmas Chaos 2. On this show, we both lose. You not only lose one match to Scorcher for the number one contendership, but you also lose via disqualification in a match for the television title against Wolverine.
Great. Yeah.
Wolverine wanted to leave XCW.
Oh yeah, and I lose to him.
And okay. I said to you, "Do you want to win the TV title?" And you
said no. Okay, now I get it. That's a good point.
You said no.
If you asked me now, I'd say no too.
So that's the reason why you didn't want to win the TV title is because it was the TV title.
Yeah, it wasn't there.
It was already tainted. That title was already tainted because of Chilster.
Yeah, I was just going to say, didn't Chilster have it at one point?
It had already been vacated twice, I think, at that point.
Anything that Chilster touches is not worth it.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, you didn't win the TV title.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe fortunately.
Yeah.
But I also lose in the main event to Johnny V and the reaction. You remember the reaction of Johnny V finally overcoming...
So this is at Johnny's house.
Yeah.
And this is where he jumps off the roof.
Yeah, does the frog splash off the roof.
That reaction was crazy. That was huge, and it would have been a mixture of people just being so excited that someone has beaten you for the title, mixed with Johnny V won the title, mixed with, oh my god, someone just jumped off a roof.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was great. Great moment for XCW, I think. I think when you look back on XCW's time, if you've ever got a highlight reel of the 10 best moments, Johnny V overcoming me and you and becoming the champion was
Absolutely.
Definitely up there.
Mm.
So from there, Battlefield Brawl is the next show. For WCWA, they think the Battlefield Brawl is just a match that we have in WCWA, but at one stage in XCW, we had a Royal Rumble show called Battlefield Brawl, where the match was the Battlefield Brawl.
This sounds familiar.
And we had the Royal Rumble, and
Yes.
I believe, I think I was number 1, and Norman was number 2, and you were number 3, or something like that. I can't remember specifically, but I remember Norman getting eliminated pretty much straight away by me and you, and it was just me and you beating down on people as they came in.
Oh, is that what happened?
But then eventually, because we're in the little trampoline, more and more people came out, so people had to go from under the second rope to brawl on the outside. It was a fucking mess.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
But I haven't seen this show in fucking years, but... Anyway, the big thing that happened at the end there was, I think the last 4 were me, Just Mike, you, and Koala Bear. Koala Bear's debut, he chained himself to the ropes.
Oh, that's right.
And,
that's right.
got the
And
key.
Mike's in here, so he didn't mind touching men now.
Yeah, now Mike's made his... this was his debut show. He wrestled Oliver Duget on Electrode
Yes.
as well.
Okay. Must have
Which was
enjoyed that.
actually not a bad match for someone who hadn't wrestled since fucking we were like 12. But you turn babyface, you throw me over the top rope. Unfortunately, the camera cut out in the last 10 minutes.
Yes, that's sounding familiar.
Which ended up with Blade leaving XCW for about 3 days because I was angry at him for not actually realising that the camera was no longer filming.
Poor bloke. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Actually, it was either this show or the following one, but it happened at some point. Blade ended up getting angry and upset. He didn't mean to and all that. And I was just a fucking little asshole back then. So, but you turn babyface, and then we're headed towards Extreme Evolution 2. So I believe at Highway to Hell. Actually, no, Battlefield Brawl. You do wrestle Aiku as well.
Yeah.
And
wait, which version of Ico?
Ultra Aiku.
Oh, still Ultra.
He was babyface. Now you were still a heel.
Yeah, sure.
So that was probably the best match you guys had against each other. And then you turn babyface in Battlefield Brawl. Highway to Hell's the next show. I can't quite remember what you do on the show. Actually, you're involved in the tournament to crown the new TV champ.
Okay. Which I obviously didn't win.
No, you face Blade in the first round.
Yeah.
I think. Wait, no, Scorcher faced Blade in the first round. Scorcher defeated Blade.
Okay.
You were supposed to face Wolverine in the second round.
Yeah. He didn't show up?
He didn't show up, so Blade had to do the wild card entry into.
So you got another chance.
So you got another chance. Lost to you in about 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Because just before this, we had the big reveal and a backstage promo of you cracking the shits at me for me getting angry at you for throwing me out of the Battlefield Brawl the previous show.
So this is where I finally talked.
This is where you finally talked for the first time and you did your best Hulk Hogan impression.
Did I?
Let me tell you something, brother.
That was your idea.
Yeah. Of all things, you do a Hulk Hogan impression.
So ridiculous. Why would I do Hulk Hogan? He's not even a big wrestler in my life.
But anyway, you end up losing to Scorcher in the TV title final and he beats you again.
I don't think I ever beat him, Joe.
I don't think you did. I don't think you ever beat Scorcher.
No.
That's right. I never beat Chris Rowe in a singles match, so it's fine.
I'm not laughing at Chris Rowe. I'm just laughing at the fact that you actually lost to someone.
Don't be an arsehole. So finally we get to Extreme Evolution 2. It's your big moment. Finally, after a year where you lost it the first time, you get the big moment at the end where you win the championship. My little associate Just Mike as special guest referee.
Yes.
He cops a choke slam from you. O-Factor's in there, Johnny V's in there, I'm in there. 4-way. O-Factor's out first, Johnny V out second, the showdown between me and you. And then you get the clean win at the end. Pin me, thanks to head referee Ollie Too Hottie.
Yes.
Coming out, doing the 3 count.
That's right.
But what a great moment for you. Finally after a year, got the belt back.
Got it back, and I'm face. Everyone's loving it.
Yep, and it's the beginning of a huge run for you as the champ.
Yeah. As
11 months.
As the good bloke champ.
As the good bloke champ.
Yep.
Well, so some people thought. From there, the next show we have a 3-way between me, you, and Johnny V in the main event for the championship.
Yes.
During the show, we did a backstage promo where myself at the time was the on-screen owner now, because I'd beaten owner Oliver Duget for it at Highway to Hell. And Johnny V attacked me in my office. He got taken to jail. He got taken to jail for assaulting me. And so
sounds like
then
something stupid would do.
So then me and you were out there. Main event's about to begin. This is probably one of my favourite moments in XCW history because no one saw it coming. Shove each other back and forth, then you give me the finger poke of doom.
Oh yeah.
I go down, 1, 2, 3. As we're celebrating, out comes Johnny V. What the hell's going on here? He's just got bailed out from jail.
Bailed out.
And he starts brawling with the 3 of us. He fucking hits Mike, hits you, comes off the trampoline onto me. I hit him in the gut, throw him into the announce table, and then, I don't know, you fucking fuck him up somehow.
Yeah.
Then out comes
The spray
fucking
paint,
Wolverine.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Wolverine's got a feud going on with me at the time as well.
Oh, shit. Oh,
So
trouble.
He's
You're in
trouble.
big
He's
trouble,
standing
mate.
side by side with Johnny V, and then boom,
Bang.
turns around and turns on Johnny V. Now Wolverine, now known as Static, has joined with myself, Just Mike, and Defuzer, the first incarnation of the real
The proper-
XWA.
Oh, yeah.
So we took a bit of the past with Wolverine and myself, and then a bit of the future with Just Mike and you. So the original XWA, Extreme Wrestling Alliance, was me, you, Just Mike,
And we signed our
Wolverine.
mark.
and it was a good match.
We signed our mark on Johnny V, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we spray
Spray painted his back,
Yeah.
which you'll see in my Hall of Fame video.
Yeah, I think he had a bit of trouble getting that spray paint off.
Yes, because apparently he had a white shirt on underneath that I was
Oh.
supposed to spray paint it on,
That's
and I
right.
was like, you know what? I'm not doing it.
Straight on the back.
I'm doing it on the back.
Come on, it's on video.
Yeah.
It'd be worth it.
Yeah. You know.
I think there's only a little bit left on his back today.
But I remember he was getting hosed down afterward, and they were trying to scrub it off, and it wouldn't come off. And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't.
But it was worth it.
But looking back, that was probably pretty dangerous to fucking spray paint someone with actual spray paint. No,
Nah, it's alright.
Well,
If
anyway,
he'd covered his body, it would have been a bit of an issue.
anyway, we're ripping off the NWO here, obviously, a little bit.
Yeah, just a bit.
From there, the following show, Wolverine can't come because he's got work experience. Just Mike's got the flu.
Oh,
So it was just me and you.
yeah.
Embarrassingly,
Right. Yeah.
kind of, because,
Our
we
brand new
just
stable,
formed this new
yeah.
stable,
Mm.
and half the members aren't there the first time we do it.
Mm.
But we have a little surprise up our sleeve in the opening segment.
Don't tell me.
We put our arms this way and announce the new member. Out comes Lance Lightning.
Oh, yeah.
He's in XWA, so now we've got our fifth member.
Brilliant.
Great moment. It's good to see Lance come back. What did you think of Lance Lightning now coming back and being in XWA?
It was awesome because we're all good mates back in the day, and we had a little click. He suited the colours probably more than others. He certainly suited it, and I think it gave Les an opportunity to be a little bit more in the spotlight,
Yeah.
which was nice for him.
Instead of just being in random matches on the mid card or
Mm.
whatever,
Mm.
it's good to have him back.
Yeah.
And in a way, because soon after this, Static leaves XCW. It's like me, you, Lance, and Mike.
Mm.
This is Ocean Reef Wrestling
Oh,
Federation.
IWF.
I don't know.
Disguised as XWA.
I don't know if that was my plan. I don't know if I was doing that on purpose.
It
I
just
think I
happened
just
to-
wanted my old buddies as a
Just
group.
happened to work out like
Yeah.
that.
But I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So one thing I wanted to ask you about, just to kind of get away from the timeline here. We would have our big shows like a Battlefield Brawl, Highway to Hell, Extreme Evolution, but between some of these shows we'd have a show called Warzone. I want to know how you feel about the significance of Warzone as far as it pertains to the history of XCW.
Look, I think it was no less relevant than the main events,
Yeah, the bigger shows.
the bigger shows. Electrode was obviously a lot less than that. That was mostly for dark matches, but Warzone, well, it was just like it's just like Raw. It forms the stories.
Yeah,
You still had big time matches on there. Everyone had just as much fun, and it would give us an opportunity to build up to a big main event if you needed to.
yeah,
If we had no Warzone, we would still have had good matches. We would not have anywhere near as good as storylines that we had.
yep.
And we would not have anywhere near as many hilarious segments to look back on.
That's true. I think that's what Warzone really helped us with, is some of those more sillier segments, and because I think a bigger show would have more matches, whereas Warzone would be kind of just more like to help storylines go along. But it was significant. So around this time, Static leaves XCW.
Static, is that Wolverine?
Wolverine.
Yeah, alright.
I don't know if you want to chime in on what you thought of Wolverine leaving.
Look, he was a decent wrestler. I always got along with him. He's a nice bloke. Didn't think it was really going to affect our stable.
No.
To be a bit harsh, we lost a man whose signature move was to place the
Opponents.
to place his opponent's arms outward and lay his calves on them in a slightly jumping motion.
The ecstatic.
The ecstatic, that we called it. That's what we lost. Didn't particularly affect our ability to win matches. Nice bloke. He'd probably lost his passion by then.
Yeah. So, same show. Nick Ariel joins. Thoughts on little Nick Ariel turning heel?
I remember thinking it was a little bit silly because he was one of the ultimate baby faces, and I couldn't see how he could possibly be looked at and booed because he was so cute. Having said that, I can't remember. Did he do a good job?
He was a little fucking cheeky shit.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah. Remember him coming out with his cocky little smirk and shit, like little heel Nick Ariel. I thought he did really awesome. I think he proved a lot of people wrong that Nick won't work as a heel, but I think he did a good job.
I'm going to take your word for it. I have a terrible memory for these things. What I will say is that I can't imagine it changed Nick Ariel's ability to be an insanely awesome wrestler.
Yeah, and he still is.
He continued to do that.
Yeah. So now let's talk about your title run. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. Being the champion, your first real feud was with Vaughny Too Horny. Betrayal 2003. Yep. You guys had a pretty decent match.
Is this where I gave him a mobile phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
The mobile phone versus the mobile pahone.
Yeah.
But what were your memories of wrestling someone like Vaughny Too Horny?
He was a good fun person to wrestle. He was always very much up to some of my crazy ideas. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? I think that match may have... Was this before our Iron Man match?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this match signified, I think, the beginning of a much more impressive style of wrestling at XCW.
Yes. I think around this time that's definitely the time period where
we pulled off some pretty awesome moves in that match.
Yeah, I think you were just trying to go out there and show everyone that this is something different.
Yeah, exactly, and this is what we can do, and it changed a few attitudes, and we did that again later on. Vaughn's a very clever wrestler, a very capable wrestler. Don't know about the shirt.
The Hawaiian shirt.
It was a bit faded.
Right.
But no, I always enjoyed wrestling him. I always felt sorry for him when that little turd kicked out of his mobile phone about 20,000 times.
Oh, fuck. That's gone back about a year and a half.
Yeah, I know, but it always pissed me off because I loved his finisher. I also loved his little corkscrew. What does he call it?
The full erection.
Yeah, the full erection. He was a very entertaining wrestler to watch.
Yeah, I will agree. Also, around this time, I think another match that really did set the bar high around this time. I mean, okay, me and Johnny V was a really good match at Christmas Chaos 2. You had some good matches with Scorcher, but this is all on like the trampoline thing. So now we're moving on to like not really spending as much time on the trampoline and more so doing things on the outside.
So much better.
The grass. Way better. But one match he had on Warzone in the main event was against O Factor. And I'm not sure if you remember, it's pretty hectic of a match. Memories of wrestling O Factor and I don't know, maybe you don't remember.
I don't remember that match in particular.
But it was awesome. It was awesome.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
O Factor was my favourite wrestler to watch. Again, very entertaining, similar to Vaughn Too Horny. And he was always a risk taker, and I appreciated that. much like me, he was always willing to sell some pretty nasty bumps. Wasn't afraid to put his body on the line. And the only criticism I had was I remember always thinking that he was a lot lighter than he was. He wasn't a big bloke, but he was bloody heavy.
Really?
Yeah.
I always thought Vaughan was really heavy when you try and pick it up, but I thought Oliver was actually quite easy to get up.
Well, there we go. We've had opposite experiences.
Because I could actually give him a scoop slam and shit.
Yeah, I mean, it was possible, but I just remember overconfidence. Sounds like Junior F, not Defuzer, but I remember going into some of the power moves and thinking, yep, this is going to be easy, and up we go.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I could still pull off the moves, but it was I found it harder to adjust than others because I knew I should be able to do this.
Yeah.
But I struggled a bit more than others.
Okay.
But again, a lot of fun to wrestle, and I would happily watch some of his old matches.
Yeah, he was always entertaining.
But let's not, because we're doing an interview.
We're doing an interview.
Live on radio.
So another one of your, pardon me, contenders, well, not contenders, but he had a shot at the championship anyway, Blade Shaw. They're known as AJ Orlando. You guys tried to have a couple of matches around this time, just didn't click. Just wouldn't click.
Yeah, it wouldn't click. That's a good way to say it.
I think one time you were trying to do a, where you pick him up from the ground with a power bomb, and you're trying to get him to wrap his legs around your head and hold onto you while you pick him up, but he wouldn't grab onto you, and it was quite a messy spot. But memories of a young AJ Orlando, as he was known back then.
Okay, let's clarify. We are specifically talking about a young AJ Orlando.
Yeah.
This in no way reflects the way he is now, because I think he's brilliant now.
Yeah.
Young AJ Orlando was shit. I'm sorry. He was bad.
If you thought Lance Lightning was uncoordinated.
AJ was the most uncoordinated person I ever had to face. He was tall and lanky, much like me, but for some reason, he did not know how to distribute his weight. He didn't know when to jump for a move.
He's a bit of an awkward guy.
He had a move set. I can't tell you what it was, and I don't remember having a good match or even a good spot with him, which is probably half my fault. But I never enjoyed facing him back then.
Just one of those times where maybe you tried to adapt, but it just was.
I couldn't do it, and it wasn't a closed mind. I certainly was willing to try it, but it could just never pull it off. And I guess the other thing to keep in mind is he probably just didn't have the experience he needed, and that is quite evident when you compare him to now.
Okay. So around this time, XWA comes to an end. Unfortunately, before you get the chance to wrestle Acid Rain in a match, he doesn't show up to wrestle you twice.
I faced him.
Oh, well, back in 2002.
Yeah,
so that was before your title run. But around this time, XWA end up splitting up. I want to know what your thoughts were about XWA, the Extreme Wrestling Alliance 2.0, and the run that we had in hindsight, how you felt it was as a group.
Again, you're going to have to tell me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure we were quite dominant. We pissed off a lot of people, which is what we wanted to do.
Which was pretty much what we did the previous year, you know?
Exactly. Same goal. We might have copyright infringed with NWO a couple of times.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember speaking to their lawyers at least once.
Yeah.
And altogether, I would say it was one of the best things we did in XCW. It was probably the most dominant stable in the history of the Federation. Was it a Federation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the history of XCW?
Yeah, history of XCW. And it was just good fun hanging out with all the old mates.
Yeah.
And being little turds.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good fun. It's funny. I mean, we're not talking about junior referee Daniel Bonner here today, but it was funny seeing junior referee Daniel Bonner feud with XWA whilst
whilst Defuzer was
whilst
a part of it.
Defuzer's the actual heavyweight champion and the main guy in XWA, and yeah,
That was a bit of a challenge,
that was funny.
but it was one of our better ideas.
Yeah, but maybe we'll do another interview another time about junior referee Daniel Bonner and
And the other thing I've got to say is great about it, XWA was that you and I were both a part of it, which meant that it was very unlikely I would lose the title.
no, I want you to have a solid long run as the champion.
And that meant that you and I wouldn't wrestle.
Yep,
Because you were one of the only people who would be able to take it from me.
possibly. Yeah.
That was handy.
Well, we split up, and then all of a sudden, Defuzer versus Taser 2. So another feud between us.
That's
we
right.
split up. You chokeslammed the shit out of Lance Lightning, myself, AJ Orlando, Bladeshaw, Stacy, all the referees.
Yeah, it sounds like something I'd do.
You killed everyone, and
Yeah.
then it's set for Christmas Chaos 3. Now the roles are reversed. I'm the good guy, you're the bad guy. We had the match at Christmas Chaos 1, and now, 2 years later, Christmas Chaos 3.
Hey, wait, just stop. How did I become the bad guy when I destroyed XWA the heel?
No, because during that show, XWA had split up.
Ah,
And
right.
I was saying I'm turning over a new
A new leaf.
leaf in life.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. I want to have a good competitive match with my partner Lance Lightning against O-Factor and AJ.
Okay.
And then you came out on commentary with the cameraman and were
Ah,
saying this
and-
is all bullshit.
Got it.
And
Got
then
it.
you chokeslammed everyone. You chokeslammed poor Stacy.
Nicely done.
So now,
That's
now,
good booking.
Yeah. So now I'm the good guy, you're the bad guy.
Nice.
And, so fun. I remember the Warzone before Christmas Chaos 3, match between myself and Nick Ariel. You're running club to the back.
Ah, one of my favourite moves.
Yeah. The running club to the back,
And you were
'cause
the
it doesn't
best.
hurt.
You were the best at selling it.
Yeah, because it doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt.
As hard as you do it.
It is one of the loudest, most excruciating sounds you can do to a person.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt. And it was awesome. And at that Warzone, you wrestled Lance Lightning in the main event for the Heavyweight Championship. Everyone was saying Lance Lightning should not be in the main event.
Sounds familiar.
There was a big thing behind the scenes. People were not only picking on Norman, but saying things about Lance Lightning.
Teenagers really need something better to do, don't they?
Pretty much, yeah. But you guys went out there and proved. And I
Yeah,
think
we
this
had
is
a
the
good
best
match.
match you guys ever had.
Was that at Blades House?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you reversed your choke slam into a DDT.
That was a
and-
good match.
Yeah, that was good. And
And yeah,
I
that's
think
right.
it proved something there.
I think maybe people might have made a few comments about, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah. So let's talk about Christmas Chaos 3, 30-minute Iron Man match between me and you. Probably our finest half hour.
I would say without question, our
Aside
finest
from-
26 minutes.
27 minutes and about 15 seconds,
There
I
we go.
think.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, whoever was timing it decided to say it was 30 minutes up. But every day after school, we would go into my
We'd
backyard
practice.
and practice and come up with ideas for all the spots for the half hour
That
match.
was without question the most rehearsed match.
Yeah, I'd never really rehearsed matches that often, except for the Betrayal one with me, you and John, where we went to his house and planned it. But other than that, maybe on the day we'll plan something, or you will go out the front with your opponent and plan something.
That's right,
with
but
them.
not to that extent.
But not to the extent of every day after school we would go over it again and again and again.
I'm surprised I can't remember our little opening sketch.
No,
You probably can.
I can't really call it
Because we did
off
that
the top of my head. But
so many times.
yeah, there was so much shit. Like,
must
you
have
know,
prac-
I
we
went
must
for a
have practiced it
clothesline,
50
you ducked the
times.
clothesline,
Yeah.
hip toss attempt. Like, there's just a whole bunch of different reversals just to get out the gate, and everyone was just like going crazy. Person behind the camera wasn't even commentating because it was such an important
Yeah.
match, you know. And what a great match!
That was an incredible match. We, again, pulled off a lot of moves that people weren't expecting. Our little opening sequence was unrivaled and is probably still unrivaled today.
Yeah.
Because XCW hasn't continued. And the finish, genius.
You
Absolute
tap out
genius.
just as the bells started to ring. Looks like I've walked away with the championship.
You're
It's a-
celebrating, the crowd's celebrating.
This crowd celebrating. It's a draw though. Owner Bladeshaw's turned heel during the show. Decided there's no overtime taking place. So I was just proud of it because I knew people like Vaughan was saying this is going to be a shit match, this is going to be a boring match, no one wants to watch a half-hour match. I'm pretty sure XCW had matches that went longer than half an hour before.
Yeah, it's just because it was scheduled.
Just because it sounded like it was going to be long, but we had everyone in the palm of our hand the whole time. And do you remember afterward? This was the first time everyone really came up to people after the match
and started
shaking our hands.
That's right.
Lee saying to me, "That was the best match I've ever seen, including WWE." But knowing Lee, he probably hasn't seen much WWE.
Or you can't trust what he says.
Yeah, but like he was really, that was fucking great, and everyone was just like shaking our hands, and I was just like, wow, like this really feels good. That me and Bono were able to create a match like that. And
just anywhere on your little question sheet, say what are my thoughts on facing you?
Well, I'll probably get onto that a little bit later.
All right, good.
But I just wanted to get up to Christmas Chaos 3 at this point before we can take a little bit of a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
So that was part 1 of my interview with Defuzer. We're up to 2004, which was Christmas Chaos 3. And from there, well, it's pretty scattered for XCW for the next few years, so we'll probably be able to get up to 2010 pretty quickly. But what a great first few years for your career in XCW. 2002 and 2003 Wrestler of the Year, as voted by your peers.
That's right.
And
I remember you and I agreed to vote for each other.
Did we?
Yeah. We had mutual agreement because we thought it's going to be one of us. Let's vote for each other, and we probably were both thinking, I bet he's just going to vote for himself.
Well, I think in 2002 we were a tie.
Oh, that sounds right.
But in 2003 you were like clear winner, by miles. So it was obvious that you deserved to be champion at this point.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah.
So we're going to have a quick break. That was part 1. Fuck you, cunt. You fucking cunt. And we will get with you with part 2. Hopefully we'll get this done soon. Thank you for listening to the GBYWN Australia podcast. I'm Aston Crude. We'll be with you for part 2.
Now for a news break.